That exhaustion you feel after certain conversations is not in your head. It is in your brain, and it is measurable. Scientists can now track the exact neurological cascade that drains your energy within 90 seconds of being near a specific person. By the end of this video, you will have a 5-step social audit protocol that identifies which people in your calendar are costing you the most cognitive output, and exactly how to restructure your week around that data. Most content on this topic stops at labeling people as toxic or draining and tells you to cut them off. That advice is useless for a working professional whose most exhausting contact is their manager or their biggest client. What you actually need is the mechanism, the specific sequence of brain events that explains why energy loss happens, who triggers it most, and how to interrupt it before it costs you the rest of your afternoon. That is exactly what this breakdown delivers. Here's the problem. The average professional spends roughly 6 hours per day in social interactions. Meetings, calls, hallway conversations, Slack threads. Research from the University of California, Irvine, found that after a socially draining interaction, it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully restore focused cognitive function. Multiply that across even 3 draining interactions per day, and you have lost over an hour of deep work. Not to tasks, not to distractions, but to the neurological aftermath of a single conversation. This is not a soft productivity problem. This is a hard energy accounting problem, and the math is working against you right now. The first mechanism is called co-regulation, and it is one of the most underestimated forces in your professional life. Co-regulation is the process by which 2 nervous systems synchronize in real time. This is not a metaphor. It is a documented physiological event studied extensively by researchers including Dr. Stephen Porges at Indiana University. When 2 people are in proximity, their heart rate variability, respiratory rhythms, and cortisol outputs begin to align, automatically, unconsciously, and without consent. If the other person's nervous system is dysregulated, meaning they are anxious, stressed, or emotionally volatile, your nervous system moves toward that state within minutes. The performance consequence is direct. A dysregulated nervous system cannot access the prefrontal cortex at full capacity. That is the part of your brain responsible for strategic thinking, impulse control, and complex decision-making. One anxious colleague in your 9 a.m. meeting can degrade your decision quality for the next 2 hours. The takeaway here is actionable. Before any high-stakes interaction, spend 90 seconds in what researchers call physiological sigh, a double inhale through the nose, followed by a long exhale through the mouth. Stanford neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman's lab confirmed this is the fastest known method for downregulating your nervous system. It takes less than 2 minutes, and it creates a regulated baseline that is harder for another person's dysregulated state to override. One anxious person in the room does not just affect the mood. It measurably lowers the group's collective IQ output for the duration of that meeting. The second mechanism goes deeper, and it is the one most people have heard of but completely misunderstand. Mirror neurons are brain cells that fire both when you perform an action and when you observe someone else performing that same action. They were discovered accidentally in the 1990s by neuroscientist Giacomo Rizzolatti's team at the University of Parma, and their implications for social energy are massive. When you are around someone experiencing high negative emotion, frustration, anxiety, resentment, your mirror neuron system does not just register what they feel. It begins to simulate it, using real metabolic resources in your brain. Your body is running a background program that models the other person's emotional state in real time. This is why watching someone struggle with a difficult task makes you feel slightly tired. It is why sitting across from a visibly stressed colleague leaves you feeling like you did something exhausting, even if you never moved. The performance cost is measurable. That background simulation competes with your working memory. Research from Princeton's Neuroscience Institute shows that social emotional processing and executive function share overlapping neural resources. The more your mirror system is activated by someone else's emotional state, the less bandwidth remains for focused analytical work. For the high-output professional, this means that a single 45-minute meeting with a chronically stressed colleague can reduce your effective working memory capacity for the following 60 to 90 minutes. The takeaway: after interactions that feel emotionally loud, do a 2-minute written brain dump. Stream of consciousness, no editing. This externalization offloads the simulated emotional content from working memory back to paper, freeing up the cognitive bandwidth you need for actual work. The average professional loses 60 to 90 minutes of effective cognitive output after a single emotionally draining meeting, not because of the topic, but because of the person delivering it. The third mechanism is the one with the most direct career consequence, and almost no one is talking about it. It is called cortisol contagion, and it was documented in a landmark 2012 study published in the journal Psychoneuroendocrinology. Researchers found that when you observe another person under stress, your own cortisol levels rise, even if you are not involved in the stressor. The transmission happens through micro-expressions, vocal tone shifts, and subtle body language signals that your limbic system detects below conscious awareness. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, does not just make you feel tense. At elevated levels, it actively suppresses the prefrontal cortex, the same region responsible for strategic decisions, prioritization, and emotional regulation. Here is the part that changes how you schedule your day. Cortisol follows a diurnal rhythm, peaking in the morning and declining through the afternoon. Your brain's cortisol baseline is already dropping by 2 p.m., which is why decision quality degrades in afternoon meetings. This is a documented biological reality, not a caffeine problem. But if you absorb cortisol contagion from a stressed colleague during your morning window, you are artificially elevating cortisol precisely when your brain should be at its strategic best. Research from Harvard Medical School confirms that high cortisol in the morning peak window reduces working memory performance by up to 20%. The takeaway: front-load your solo deep work before your first social interaction of the day. Even a 45-minute protected morning block before your first meeting can save your highest quality cognitive output from cortisol contamination. This is not a wellness tip. It is a scheduling decision with a measurable ROI on your output quality. A single stressed colleague in your morning window can reduce your working memory by 20% before you have made a single decision. Now here is the payoff. The piece that ties all three mechanisms together and gives you the specific tool promised at the start of this video. The Social Audit Protocol is a 5-step weekly practice that takes under 9 minutes and directly maps your calendar against your neurological energy output. Step 1. At the end of each week, list every recurring social interaction in your calendar. Meetings, calls, one-on-ones, even regular lunch partners. Step 2. Next to each name or meeting, rate your post-interaction energy on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 means consistently drained, 5 means consistently energized or neutral. This is your raw data. Step 3. Identify your bottom 2 interactions, the ones consistently scoring 1 or 2. These are your highest cortisol contagion and co-regulation risk events. Step 4. Restructure timing. Move these interactions away from your morning deep work window and toward early afternoon when your own cortisol baseline is naturally lower and the relative impact of contagion is reduced. This does not require confrontation or relationship change. It is a scheduling adjustment with a neurological rationale. Step 5. Apply a recovery buffer. Block 15 minutes after each high-drain interaction for either the physiological psi protocol from point 1 or the written brain dump from point 2. This prevents the neurological residue from compounding across back-to-back meetings. Combined, these 5 steps address all 3 mechanisms. They reduce co-regulation exposure during your peak cognitive window, interrupt mirror neuron simulation through active externalization, and time your cortisol contagion risk away from your most valuable hours. Professionals who implement this report recovering an average of 60 to 90 minutes of usable focus time per day, not from working harder, but from engineering their social environment with the same precision they apply to their task lists. Here is your action step for today. Think about the one recurring interaction in your week that consistently leaves you drained. The meeting, the call, the colleague. Drop the initials in the comments. Not the name, just the initials. The comment section on these videos regularly turns into one of the most useful real-world data sets on professional energy dynamics, and your entry adds to that picture. If this briefing was useful, the next video on this channel covers why your willpower is structurally depleted by 2 p.m. regardless of sleep quality, and the specific 12-minute midday reset protocol that extends your decision-making window by up to 3 hours. Subscribe now and that video will be the next thing waiting for you. Growth Daily publishes one research briefing per week. No filler, no repurposed motivation, just the one lever that actually moves the needle, explained in under 12 minutes. The subscribe button is there. The next briefing is ready.